I'm Elizabeth Noyce, and you're listening to Supergirl Radio.
I think the CW are just trying to win the time slot war with Supergirl Radio.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
Really? She looks like a boss in this coat.
Is Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. It's so fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the CW Supergirl TV series and the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson, and since my usual co-host Morgan is currently enjoying her honeymoon right now, after recently getting married, I am joined by Supergirl Radio listener and Patreon supporter Quinn to discuss and review the Supergirl Season 6 episode titled Welcome Back, Kara. And I'm not sure exactly how to spell, well, I know how to spell it, but the punctuation with Welcome Back, I almost said Welcome Back, Cotter. Welcome Back, Kara. I don't know if there's an exclamation point. In some places I've seen exclamation points, and then other places I haven't seen. So I'm just going to put an exclamation point because Welcome Back, Kara is an exciting thing to have there. So that's what I'm going to go with until I see that it's spelled differently. So if anyone has any thoughts on how we should document Welcome Back, Kara, please let me know. But yeah, so welcome, Quinn. Thank you for joining me and being my guest host for this live stream and this episode of Supergirl Radio. So thank you for being with me tonight.
Of course. I have loved listening to you and Morgan's shenanigans over the years, so I'm really honored to be here and happy to partake.
Yes. So there are lots of shenanigans that take place. And I guess I should mention really briefly, Morgan did get married. That did happen. It was successful. Morgan and Mike did get married. And so that was really fun. I got to go up to Philadelphia to see them. And I don't want to talk too much about the wedding because I'll let Morgan do that if she wants to when she gets back. But it was really fun. We actually had all of the Morgan Glennon podcast universe represented. Amy Hypnorowski from the Legends of Tomorrow podcast actually took this picture. It was pretty funny. She had the idea for a big selfie like right at the end of our time on the dance floor. So it was a pretty awesome selfie that took place. Everybody had a really good time. So Kat and Amy were there from Legends of Tomorrow podcast, and Sarah was there from DC TV After Dark. So it was really fun to see all the podcasting people from the Morgan Glennon podcast universe. So it was really fun to be there. Also, some Supergirl Radio sort of references at the wedding, which surprised me. I didn't know. There was some special signature drinks that were available during the cocktail hour. You could get the Beaker, which was a jalapeno lemonade cocktail, or you could get the Bunsen, grapefruit and pink peppercorn gin and tonic. I tried the Beaker, which I thought was pretty good. I'm not really an alcohol person. I just don't usually like it, but I tried the Beaker. It was pretty good. I didn't get to try the Bunsen though. I was going to go back and get the Bunsen, but they told me the bartender said he ran out of ingredients. So I guess the Bunsen was popular. I don't know. So they did run out of the Bunsen, so I didn't get to try the Bunsen. But a good time was had by all. And it was a really beautiful wedding, and I was honored to be there. That was actually the first time that Morgan and I had met in person. So we've been podcasting for 6 years. I've probably known her since 2006, 2005, 2006, something like that. So that was pretty fun to actually get to be in her presence. So that was a lot of fun. So just wanted to update on everybody on that. That's why Morgan is not with me for this episode. But she is currently having a good time on her honeymoon, and we'll see her when she gets back. We'll have to maybe do a little recap when she gets back, maybe like a 10-minute Morgan's thoughts on the 2 episodes that she's going to miss. We'll see how that goes. But for right now, I guess in addition to that news, we do actually have some Supergirl news to get to. Well, Supergirl news and maybe the Flash news. So we'll get into that when we get there. So I guess it's time we get to
the news.
All right, I have messed up my Google Docs here. I've messed with my tabs. Okay, now I've got the tab in the right place. So let's. Ooh, geez, I'm having a hard time talking tonight. All right, so let's talk about this big news item. It's a pretty big news item. So the Flash Season 8 will be opening up in the biggest way yet, as the Arrowverse drama is set to host a special 5-episode event starting on Tuesday, November 16th. The 5-part event, titled Armageddon, will feature Cress Williams as Black Lightning, I think it's Javicia. Do we know how to pronounce that? I might be mispronouncing.
I'm not the one to ask, so anyone in the chat?
Somebody let me know if I mispronounce that. But Javicia Leslie as Batwoman, Brandon Routh as the Atom, Kyler Lee as Sentinel, Kat McNamara as Mia Queen, Osric Chow as Orion Choi, Tom Cavanaugh as Reverse Flash, Neil McDonough as Damien Dark as well. The description for this event reads, quote, "A powerful alien threat arrives on Earth under mysterious circumstances, and Barry, Iris, and the rest of Team Flash are pushed to their limits in a desperate battle to save the world. But with time running out and the fate of humanity at stake, Flash and his companions will also need to enlist the help of some old friends if the forces of good are to prevail," unquote. So, Quinn, what do you think about this news? We're actually getting to see a Sentinel in a big 5-part crossover event.
I mean, all the eyeshadow. Let's just let Kyler have as much eyeshadow for as long as she wants. This is a very high-stakes synopsis here, and I mean, if anyone can handle it, it's the Arrowverse here. So I think it's cool that they're bringing together so many different people from different characters who have already departed their roles. Black Lightning has wrapped. Kat McNamara has wrapped. Like, I think that's really cool that they're giving them all another opportunity to come back in, and always leaves the door open for more opportunities, I guess, and stories, of course.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I'm not caught up on all the shows, so I don't know where everybody landed. I heard, maybe somebody correct me in the chat, but I heard like Damien Dark died. Did Black Lightning die? Like, yeah,
does death really mean anything in this universe?
Not really. But I was just curious about the state of some of these characters. How would they be bringing some of them back if that was the case? So I have lots of questions about that. But yeah, it does seem like Kyler Lee is going to be still in the eyeshadow in the hood. So that'll be fun to see what she brings to the team. Apart from Supergirl, I mean, she has alien technologies. She's very smart. She's a very good fighter and a strategist. So she could be used in many various ways. Let's see. Andy says Black Lightning is definitely alive. Damien, I don't get. So yeah, I don't know what the status is. I guess I need to catch up on some of these shows just so that I know what's going on with some of these folks. Because it is a big event that's going to be happening pretty soon. I mean, that's
fall premieres.
That's coming up in a couple of months. So I guess we'll be seeing a little more of Sentinel in November as well. Let's see. Some people are catching me up on Damien Dark. Let's see. Ollie says, yes, Damien died. And then Silhouetted Animator is saying Damien Dark destroyed his soul in Legends Season 5. Well, that's pretty serious.
I mean, that seems semi-permanent.
Oh, and with a hell sword.
If you're going to go out and blaze glory there.
That is a good way to go, I guess. That is intense. So yeah, I'll have to check that out and do some research on that to see how Damien Dark is still alive. But you know what? The man who killed Laurel Lance really should have his soul destroyed by a hell sword. That's really the only justice for that. So we do have more Sentinel to look forward to in November. So that'll be exciting. They didn't get to do a crossover here recently because of COVID and the pandemic. So it'll be nice for them to get back into the swing of the crossover because that's always such a big hit for these shows. All right. Well, let's get into talking about the episode of Supergirl because Supergirl came back after many months of being gone. So welcome back, Kara, indeed. So here is the official description for this week's episode. Quote, as Supergirl and Zor-El, guest star Jason Behr, make their return to National City, they are determined to keep the Phantom Zone behind them and enjoy being superheroes together. Unfortunately, their overzealous efforts backfire, creating a whole new threat to National City, unquote. Whew. So that's kind of understating, I think, a lot of what happened in the episode. But I guess the first place we could start because it was such a relief to me that Kara was such a focus in the episode. So Quinn, what did you think about Kara and how she was dealing with the aftermath of coming out of the Phantom Zone?
I mean, did we ever figure out how long she was actually there for? But regardless, that was torturous for her. I can't even imagine. But I think she was portrayed appropriately and that she's going to have to be going through these feelings for I don't know how long, but I don't know how you'd do in the Phantom Zone, Rebecca, but I certainly wouldn't be doing okay.
No. I mean, the Phantoms definitely messed with her. I don't know exactly how long she was in there. I think they mentioned in the flashback, I'd have to go back and look that up. I think they mentioned in the Midvale episodes, like how long it took them to do that, I think. But to me, it seemed like it was like, I don't know, a week and a half, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem like that long to me, but I guess in the context of the story, it must have been a more drawn out scenario. Let's see. Okay. Someone in the chat, Ollie says, didn't they say in this episode she was away for 6 weeks? So yeah, we'll go with that, I guess, for now until we're told otherwise. So 6 weeks. So that seems like that's a substantial. It's a couple of months. So we'll go with that. But I really liked the way that they handled Kara's aftermath in the Phantom Zone, and I especially liked in the writing how at the beginning of the episode Kara tells Alex, I never want to hear the word Phantom again. I don't want to hear it in an opera or a Star Wars prequel. I never want to hear it again. And then when she goes to Catco, she gets thrown, Phantoms metaphorically thrown at her because Andrea wants her to write the story about the Phantoms, and she finds out that Phantoms have attacked the city, and she feels guilty about it, even though she wasn't here, or here on Earth, I guess I should say. So I liked the writing in that it was, having her deal with the fact that she had been with the Phantoms and affected by the Phantoms. She's sort of pushing it away a little bit, I think, at the beginning. And then she kind of realized she had to deal with it because she was, was kind of thrown at her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she literally crossed space, time, everything, and got out of that area, was rescued. And then, there had to be that huge relief. And just for her to walk into her normal life as Kara Danvers and get handed that story and be like, oh, okay, so this is not going anyway anytime soon. I mean, you'd hate to see your work and personal life overlap in any way, but this is just a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it doesn't seem like Andrea is going to be letting up on this story anytime soon anyway.
No, we'll definitely talk about Andrea because I have a lot of thoughts about Andrea and Catco and what's happening there. But yeah, so Andrea was definitely, Kara was not getting out of that story, even if she didn't want to write it. And so I was glad that the show made an effort to let Alex be the one to help her through that. They did say Kelly was gone doing something, and for a little bit I was like, isn't Kelly maybe the one to help her with this? Isn't Kelly trained?
The trauma specialist. And
yeah, she's maybe this is something that Kelly should help her with. But I actually like that Alex was the one to help her with that because we, kind of in the latter parts of the show, there have been fewer and fewer Danvers sisters scenes, and these I thought were so great. They were so good.
Yes.
So what did you think about those scenes between Kara and Alex?
I mean, just the way that Melissa and Kyler work together and always have since season 1, like you can tell that there's a true bond there, and that just always shines through. Like, I mean, I just keep going back to the fact that they were shooting these episodes right when they all returned from either COVID hiatus or Melissa's maternity leave. Like, they had been apart from each other, and I think that, I mean, not that they struggle to have any of those things to draw on, it looks like in previous seasons, but I think that that weight of relief of being reunited definitely shone through in all of those moments. And you got to see that that caring, nurturing bigger sister role shining through in Alex that we haven't necessarily seen in a while. There's been so many different storylines that keep pulling them. They're side by side dealing with all these missions and everything, but I mean, this was a bedside sun lamp scene rather than Dander's couch scene, but it was packed with that same feeling that we love about those two characters.
Yeah, and I thought it was nice that the show let Kara deal with what happened to her, but then it also affected Alex pretty severely, that, you know, she kind of felt as that big sister that she couldn't do anything to save her sister. And that really drove her in the first half of the season. So I'm glad that they, you know, mentioned that. And I saw some people tweeting at Supergirl Radio about how Take the Grass got a little callback. so that was nice. I'm glad we have a reason to take the grass again. So so that was nice. I think they utilized that very well. And especially now that, you know, Alex has her memory, because back during Take the Grass.
Oh, forget that.
Yeah. we
literally forget that.
Yeah, we're not having to deal with all of that. But yeah, so I liked that the Kara and Alex stuff was really strong. And sometimes I forget when watching this show, when they don't have Melissa with a lot of screen time, and I understand, you know, the first half of the season, you know, her maternity leave and all that kind of stuff. That's understandable. But sometimes I forget just what a good actress she is. And Kyler put in a good performance in this episode as well. But Melissa, just when they give her some really meaty stuff to do, I'm like borderline, like, I need a tissue. Like, you're really making me feel things. And so I really like when the show leans into that, because sometimes I feel like it doesn't. And I want more of that, because she's so good.
She is. And she's got that range. She can be that quirky, dorky car that's geeking over a donut or an ice cream cone, and then pull out those, like, can I have another hug, please moments. And you're just like, oh, my heart on both ends of that spectrum. You're adorable. Yep. And I just want to give you a hug also. But I've always loved her, and there's only so many times she can walk in a scene and do a super pose, but gosh darn it, she does pull that off every time she does it too, you know. every time. The moment when she walks out of the balcony, when, you know, she hits the S and it turns into the crypto suit. Oh, she was back in the game. That was so cool. I loved it.
It's a boss move. I like that. I like that visual and the way she carried herself. So yeah, Melissa, I just sometimes I get frustrated with the show, because I'm like, give her more to do. She's so good. So it was such a relief for me in this episode, after so many months of the show not being away. It was like, oh, finally some Kara stuff. It was such a nice thing to come back to. And I did want to point out something that Julia put in the chat. It was good that they get into the PTSD after imprisonment and psychological torture. As many powers as they have, it shows that they aren't truly invincible, that traumatic circumstances sometimes affect them. Yeah, I mean, Supergirl and even Zor-El in this episode, you know, they do have all these amazing powers, and they're physically strong, but they can be affected emotionally just like any of us. And so I think that's really important to show with some of these super characters.
Absolutely. I did love that it was Alex, that was the first person that she really saw waking up. I loved all the reunion bits going on there. And I think he even read that they reshot the reunion scenes. Like, I don't know if they were originally going to go with what they did in the previous episode and then they redid this one, but I just loved that they took that beat to really let Melissa be reunited with her super friends, if you will. And both as Kara and as Melissa, and I thought it was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I think whatever they did to reshoot it, I think it was worth it, just because it was really good. I mean, each character got to have a moment with Kara, and Kara got to have a moment of having, been reunited with these people. And so I think that I don't know what they had previously, but what they did was great. And I thought that was, it was interesting that they kind of started out the episode as like a quirky comedic,
oh yes,
Brainy coming in with the cake, and then it kind of gets a little serious. So the tone shift there was very interesting for me. But I thought
it was so adorable. I mean, what was it? An episode or two ago, he was doing the fat tricks, and
yeah.
Like Jesse posted something. He's like, "Yeah, my wife put up with me like breaking a lot of things around my apartment." So like, I 100% am confident that Jesse probably like pitched that whole little thing there. That was so cool.
Well, and I think it was a good way to bring into the episode that, everybody had gathered together to, welcome Kara home. And I thought that was really nice. So it was good to see all of them together, and they all got to shine a little bit there. So that was a well worth, it was well worth for them to have reshot that and really make those emotions shine. So I'm glad that they did all of that. And I guess we mentioned Zor-El briefly. So Zor-El, we spent some time with him in the Phantom Zone. I don't know enough time in the Phantom Zone for me personally, but we did spend some time with him early on in the season. But now we got to see more of him and hear more from his side of the story. So Quinn, what did you think about Zor-El in this episode, and even kind of what he was going through?
Now, see, I think he had an interesting, I liked what they did with him this episode. Like, there's definitely this, you could pick up on the avoidance as soon as they were like, "Oh, I bet you want to go see your wife, that's been thinking that you've been dead all these years, no rush. So I just want to take a quick little tour of Earth here," which I totally get. He's missed his daughter, didn't know she was alive, and vice versa. But I think the actor, and I'm not as familiar with the actors I think you and Morgan are, but I thought he brought just enough of that, he was like, what, in the high science council or something, so that like pompousness, but like also he was like a little kid, like, "Ooh, I have powers." Like, there's just enough of both of that going on at the same time that I thought it was very enjoyable. And I liked what they did with him throughout the episode. I thought he had his own little journey, like you mentioned before, and it was a messy one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is interesting how they played the Allura thing, and how I guess it made sense when they justified it as, I have some guilt and some shame over not being able to save our people, and I kind of understood that and why he would sort of avoid the Argo Allura thing, but at the same time I was like, wasn't the whole deal with Argo, like the reason that Argo exists is because of Zor-El? Like
yeah, we've fallen into a plot hole again. I don't know.
I mean, didn't he save all those people? Has no one told him that?
Yeah, well, he knows that she's there in Argo. Like, even Lena brings it up, like, "I bet you want to get back to Argo." Like, duh, even I know this. I'm Lena. I'm new to the Super Friends, but I know that you saved Argo. But yeah, I couldn't remember. I've been rereading some of the Rebirth comics, maybe it was New 52. Anyway, I did a lot of binge reading, so I keep getting mixed up the storylines of what they actually did in the show. But typically they say he kind of just was like, "All right, you go and I'll stay and behind," kind of deal. Like, do you remember how he ended up in the Phantom Zone?
That was so Zor-El on Supergirl, the way it was explained, I think, was that the only way to save himself, because I guess he had stayed behind, and so the only way he could save himself was to send him to the Phantom Zone so that he wouldn't blow up. So yeah, so I think that's how he got there, if I remember correctly. Somebody, if anybody in the chat remembers more specifically, let us know. But yeah, so Zor-El, it was interesting with him because I sort of understood his guilt, but at the same time, I was like, somebody just tell him about Argo. Like, they're thriving in Argo. They're having a great time. They're building gazebos. They're having a good time in Argo. So I think he would feel a little better about his situation if he knew all that was right and all that was, saved and good. So I think he would find that a relief if he knew that he had actually saved all those people. So maybe sometime down the road he'll learn that and feel better about himself. But I can kind of understand that a little bit. But I think more to the point with Zor-El, I guess I could understand more of his need to want to save Earth, because the topical discussion of climate change reared its head in this episode. So what did you think about that, Quinn? About how his past was sort of playing into his present, and he sort of has a moment where he even is talking like his past is the present, because he thinks he voices it as he's saving Krypton.
Yeah, there's that Freudian slip, right? Like,
yeah. So what do you think about that?
So Daddy Zor-El is just like every other dad. Like, I know how to fix this problem. I've done this before. I've tried to fix this before. So he just like went full throttle. Like, Earth has weather problems, has whatever. Oh, bright idea. Let me do this. Let me hijack this poor Kellex that just got put back together. Or was that under a Crisis reboot? Who knows? But like, let me, I got this. Don't worry, daughter and family, super friends who have been taking care of this. Daddy's here. I'm going to take care of it. And that was just like what did they say in the synopsis? Overzealous? He had an overzealous overcorrection. And like,
yes,
we've all been there, and we all sit there and we wait for our respective parental figures to go, all right, fine, go ahead. Like, it was just so highly relatable. Oh my gosh. But I felt bad for him. I mean, it definitely spoke more about his character than like I think any dialogue truly would have done, was to like expose him in that like really frantic kind of like, no, I need to save Krypton. Oh crap. All right, yeah. Earth, yeah, totally I'm totally good, guys. It's Earth. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it made sense to me that he would see the similarities in Krypton and Earth and want to help and do things differently. Because at this point, he still, again, does not know about Argo. So he still thinks that everything with Krypton was a disaster and he didn't do anything helpful or productive. And so he's, I think, trying to correct his mistake.
Well, wasn't it like right there before Kara was like, oh, don't worry about your coffee, it'll be warm. Like, wasn't it like right around then that like, I think it was Nina that said, don't you want to get back to Argo? So I think he knew it was there, but like you had said, maybe they don't know how thriving in flowy clothes and houses that they are.
They're really comfortable in Argo.
Oh, they're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that Haranel that Lena did for them, they're set. Don't you worry about them. Or was that old Earth? Oh, plot holes, crisis. Thank you.
Who knows at this point? Yeah, I think he knows that Argo exists, but I don't know if it didn't seem like he was crediting himself for that, even though we've heard like Allura talk about how it was Zor-El who figured that out. And I don't know, it was weird watching the episode for the first time because there were a couple of acting choices by Jason Behr that made me go, are they gonna do a twist with him? Like, is he gonna turn out to be?
How do you mean?
Or bad? Like, there were a couple of instances where he would give like a weird look, or he would say something fishy, and I was like, are they doing something weird? So I was kind of relieved by the end of it, where they stayed the course and kept him good, because Zor-El in the comics is usually treated as a bad guy, and
oh man, yes.
Kara has to deal with the fact that sometimes her dad goes a little evil, and so I the show made me guess a little bit while I was watching it whether or not that was the way they were going to take him.
I wouldn't have been surprised, even though there's only now 12 episodes left. They totally would try to throw in that M through Z plots to try and get them all together by the end of the season.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they didn't do something like that, but they had me guessing there for a little bit. So I'm glad that Zor-El ended up being okay, and he did have some suggestions that could be helpful and work out, but I guess he didn't take into consideration that his Oscar robot friend could become a large garbage monster. So
we all have bright ideas, and he just went, no, when you see the tipping point, we got to do this. Dad says we got to do this now, and we're going to do it now.
sometimes you don't have a chance to think it through.
Oh my gosh.
Thoroughly. So some mistakes are going to happen, I guess. So Quinn, what did you think about bringing Kellex back and then turning him into Oscar, and then him becoming a huge garbage monster?
Oh my goodness. So I have a 2.5-year-old going on 3, and I love Sesame Street. I won't lie. So I was literally laughing out loud when they're like, oh, this is the guy that's named after whatever. Who binge watches Sesame Street other than us who can't find the remote because the kid hit it? But I Kellex and Brainy's dynamic especially cracked me up. Like, I saw Zarel being very kid in a candy shop, or me in the hardware store, like, oh, I'm going to put this together with this. I'm going to do this. So many bright ideas, so many shoulder pads. Like,
yes,
I think that he just went nuts. Like, he's been almost like, if he's a science guy and he's literally been in the Phantom Zone, void of whatever, sitting in his little cave with some rocks, like, I don't know. I'm not too much of a techie, but like, there's only so many things you can do with rocks and sticks and, avoiding phantoms. Like, that guy was itching to tinker, like, and he tinkered, he did. So, overzealous, overcorrection, Daddy Zarel. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a good point. He would be looking for something to do. He actually could do something on Earth instead of being worried about phantoms coming to get him. So that's a really good point. I was so shocked by the Kellex reveal. First of all, because I couldn't remember if Kellex, I might have to look this up, but I couldn't remember when Kellex was last seen on the show. I thought they had destroyed him, but sometimes it's hard to tell with the post-crisis universe. But then to have him be the one to become Garbage Man was such a big twist for me. I was not expecting that at all. So I really enjoyed that. I was a little confused. So Kellex is the reason that someone correct me. It seemed like he was magnetic. Like, were things just attaching himself, or was it the parasite that they were talking about? Did you understand that?
It was something. So they put in some Kaluan technology, which Brainy was all about. But it was explained in a way that, like, oh, this is totally going to convert whatever this crap is and turn it into a different energy, and he'll just, like, absorb it. I'm sorry, conservation of matter, like, that's all another thing. But
yeah,
it was something like he was supposed to be bringing it in, and then I don't know if it just like started like a black hole is high in mass, right? So maybe the fact that he was becoming so massive and absorbing energy that he became his own little gravitational force. Pulling that crap in at him. Sorry, totally went and slid that over to Nerdland over there. But,
no, that's very helpful to me. I would buy that for $1.
Science nerds here on Supergirl Radio, please weigh in. I know we have a lot of different professions represented here in our viewership, right?
No, that's a much better explanation than I was like, oh, he's a robot. He's magnetic. That's such a better explanation for what I was thinking about. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so I really did enjoy the dynamic between Brainy and Kellex, or Oscar in this case, because that's been very consistent that Brainy and Kellex do not get along. I would like to think it has something to do with Computo. They don't really mention Computo.
Yeah.
But Computo in the comics is kind of a computer that goes nuts and is pretty evil.
Like most of those AI movies that we enjoy so much, right?
Yeah, sometimes
the reason we don't bring dinosaurs back, there's lots of movies about that. I think, who was it? I think I read some tweets going back and forth between some of the creative team saying that, like, I love that the Brainy and Kellex feud is never explained. I mean, that is hilarious to me too as a viewer. But it was just really funny. Like, I don't know if that was a Jesse thing or what, but remember, they have interacted before. So Kellex was at least around in season 3. Is that the rain season? Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we might have seen him in season 4. Leslie thinks that we saw him in season 4 when Nia went to the fortress. With learning about her powers and blah blah blah. She went behind Brainy's back. Yes, that whole thing. Yeah.
But when did that blow up? Lots of blow-ups happen here.
Yeah, I would have to go deep into my Google Docs to figure that out. I don't know if we have time for that. I'll figure that out. But yeah, so it was nice to see the Brainy Kellogg's. I'm with you. I like that it's unexplained. I like to make up the backstory in my head that he's had this, he's had in the future, this is my headcanon. In the future, he's had some sort of computer mishap and it's made him distrust some technology and
some sentient technology.
Yeah, he sees Kellex as the next potential computer in my mind, and so that's what I'm assuming is the reason for his beef with Kellex. But I really enjoy that. So yeah, I was glad to see him come back. Kellex is always a welcome surprise. Yeah, so I guess we should talk about some other Super Friends, and I guess they officially get. Did they officially? Is this the first episode where they get called the Super Friends? Andrea calls them Super Friends, and she announces it like it's like the most clever thing she could come up with. I was like, really, Super Friends?
Oh, girl.
It's not that clever. It's but I'm gonna have to dig into that. I don't know if the Super Friends have referred to themselves as Super Friends.
I know, like, the cast has referred to themselves as that, but no, I mean, where did she pick that up off of? Like, was that something she came up with, or was that something that she went rifling through Lex Luthor's, worst security system ever?
Yeah, I think she saw Lex's files and, like, just was trying to find something to call them because they talked about Supergirl and her friends, and so Andrea was like,
friends, done.
So Leslie is saying that Wynn referenced the Super Friends in the pilot. So okay, so thank you for that, Leslie. I would definitely have to go back through my notes and look at all those instances. But I'm glad to know that Andrea was not the first one. She cannot be credited with Super Friends. I guess it goes to Wynn. But yeah, so I guess we could talk more about some other Super Friends because some other people had some things going on in this episode. So what did you think? I'm curious about your thoughts about Lena and Nia. So they have a little arc that they've been kind of going on in regards to their mothers. So what did you think about what they're going through?
I think that they have been attempting to sprinkle these seeds in the earlier episodes, leading up to them all going and flying to the Phantom Zone and dealing with their own crap and their visions and all that. I think it's interesting. Like, I don't know. I don't remember Nia and Lena interacting much before, but there's this mutual need to help Kara, and like Nia's definitely younger. I'm perceiving her as a younger kind of character in the scheme of things. So that dynamic paired with Lena being new to the friends, like maybe that was just where she felt most comfortable making a connection. I'm interested to see where they go with, because they bought the Kelpie image of the water thing going on again. And then I know that in one of the upcoming episodes, Nia's mom is coming back. So I think it's interesting that they're trying to parallel that and have that common ground. At times it felt a little bit forced, like, oh, daddy's here. Like, I miss my mom. Like, okay, get it. We did it like one too many times. Like,
yeah, I would agree.
Like, I get it's a CW. Like, I'm not gonna harp on them there, but like, they pulled it off enough for me. How about that? But I'll be interested to see where that goes forward. I know Lena ended the episode going in a certain direction. We have Nia I think at the next synopsis going in a different direction. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how these two characters pull from their roots. Because it was Lena's mom that had the original pursuit for the Akrata necklace.
Right.
So there's some stuff that could be fleshed out there, and I'm not as familiar or have not yet confirmed if that Kelpie story is pulled from from folklore, if you will, and what that could potentially be. Or I'm overthinking it because I don't know if they're thinking that far in advance, but. I think that it's a cool little parallel that they're trying out. It could tie all the way in through the season and see where they land, I guess. I don't think I answered your question. Sorry, Rebecca.
No, you absolutely did. I am very curious because we did get in one of those promos that it looked like that Nia was going to reconnect with her mother somehow. We don't know.
I also love that it's Ellis Gray. Like, I don't know if you watched Grey's Anatomy ever, but Lexi Gray and Meredith Gray were sisters, and this is Meredith's mom. And they had that whole, like, the way that Ellis Gray died was so similar to how they showed Nia's mom dying. Like, I was just sitting there, like, looking for the overlap of my Grey's Anatomy fans and my Supergirl fans. Like, oh my God, they did the same death. But anyway, it's interesting to see her continuing to play that matriarchal, like, influencer in this powerful woman in Nia. But it'll be cool to see what that goes.
Yes.
Who doesn't love some dream magic or whatever it is her power is?
It has to be some sort of dream magic. I can't imagine how else it's going to happen. But it makes me curious if Nia is going to have some sort of reunion with her mother. I mean, will Lena have some sort of reunion with her mother?
I mean, they put that crap in that previously on for a reason. I don't know.
I feel like
have some theories, but I don't want to.
Do you want to share a theory?
So I know that the show is spoiler free, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because I have done that before to you. Sorry. Sorry. But they did the Katie in her wig for the mama flashback.
Right.
Last season? Yeah, season 5. Because that was a technology flashback thingy. So they had, like, banged Katie McGraw as her mama. And then this darn Kelpie, they really made a darn effort to make those bangs. And who snuck out of that Phantom Zone? Who's got some sweet bangs and face frame going on?
So you're maybe leaning into the Nixley as Lena's mother.
I mean,
theory.
I think so. Okay. I'll plant my flag right here. Let's see where that
goes. We'll see how that pans out. I don't know. It's an interesting theory. So we'll have to see how I still personally wish it was Katie McGraw playing her mother.
Oh my God. I mean, if we can have more Katie McGraw on screen, like, bring it on. That's fine.
I do want double the Katie McGraw if we can get it. So that's where I'm hoping it goes. But I would also be open to the Nixley thing too.
I mean, if poor Katie was stuck in Ireland for quarantine, they just shipped her some green screens and some wigs, and I could see the whole rest of this season panning out until whenever she landed in Vancouver. I've written it in my head. I think it would be great.
I would be into it. I think we could do it. So I'm curious to see how this Lena thing is going to pan out because I don't know exactly where they're going to take it. But it does seem like. Do you think she's going to? Is she going to Ireland? Is this where?
That was my inference from the end of the series because they leaned into the fact that poor Katie's accent kept slipping through. That they made her bio mom Irish and. They kept sprinkling in different things to kind of put that together. They made her middle name Kieran.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's where she was going. Or I've just read too many fan fictions, and that's where my head goes anyway.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, I personally hope we see Lena in Ireland. I don't know if they're going to shoot all that. It might happen off screen, but I would really be interested in like a Lena solo story. Like, what is she up to? What is Lena doing?
I mean, bring it on. Let's get some tourism of Ireland going on. I want to see it all.
Yeah, I
stop by Trinity Library. Let's see that sucker right there. That'd be great.
I hope we get to see Lena having an adventure in Ireland. I would be so into that. But yeah, so Lena's taken off and going somewhere, and it looks like Nia has had a vision, a dream, a premonition, precognition of Nixley, who I guess did she know about Nixley before in the Phantom Zone, or maybe Kara told them about Nixley.
Maybe. I mean, the girl just woke up. I don't know how much time they've had to talk. Because then the thing was falling out of the sky, and she had to do all the other things and go to work.
Yeah. So
I did want to comment on what Andy's saying. Yes, I totally agree on Helena Bonham Carter being her bio mom. My other vote is the lady from Orphan Black who plays the mama. Someone please remind me her name, but that one would have been awesome also, in my opinion.
I think we could just, cast Lena's mom while we're here. I think we can do it. So that would actually be really interesting to see Lena's mom come back into play. Because I'm not going to touch this subject too much because I got in trouble one time discussing Lena and watching her mother drown. So I'm not really going to go there. I'm not going to put myself in those trenches anymore. But I think it's a story. It's a story thread that could be pulled, and I think they're starting to pull it. So I think that's a good way to go about it for Lena's story, because I think it's nice for Lena to have. I mean, she's had a lot of stories with the Luthers, and she's had, she had that big fallout with Kara in season 5. So it would be kind of nice to see, a Lena story. That would be a good use of her character, in this final season.
Absolutely.
Okay, so were there any other things that you wanted to mention about this episode that we didn't get to talk about before we get to our final thoughts about the episode Welcome Back, Kara?
I definitely was irked by the plot hole when William and Kara started talking to each other again. Because he's like, oh, don't worry. I was undercover when we met the first time. I'm sorry. Who reset his memory from last Earth?
Yeah, that was a little confusing to me because they changed a lot of William's story. Mm-hmm. So it became very difficult to keep up with, well, what changed and what stayed the same. Like, it was very, very hard for me to kind of keep that memory of what was happening. I was also irked by that. And I don't know how you feel about this as a viewer, but if you're going to take an entire, and I know this is the last season of the show, they're having to make some adjustments, especially because of Melissa's maternity leave. And there are just some things that they couldn't do, I guess. Mm-hmm. But you spend that whole season 5 trying to build up Kara and Lena as a potential couple, I guess. And then you drop it with an off-screen girlfriend. It's a little...
William, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, what did I say?
You totally said Carolina, and I love you for that, but that's okay. How did
that even happen? I'm sorry. That was not what I meant.
Oh,
I meant Cara and William.
I'm totally there with you. They tried to...
No, I'm not getting into this shippy stuff.
No, William. I'm talking about William.
William, okay.
Yeah, last season they totally tried to throw that all in there.
Yeah.
And get the workplace dynamic crap going in. I mean, how many storylines have they dropped though in the show? I don't want to even think about it. I just put that over there. But
to me, it's offensive as a viewer. It's like I'm trying to be invested in what you're putting out there, what you're delivering to me in these episodes. Yeah. That I
you need to go down this path. All right, fine. Let's see where you're going. What's your plan? Show me what you got.
Right.
Okay. Got to turn around and go back. Got it. Fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I may not like it. I may not be into it, but I'm going to at least invest in your story and see where you take it. And then they just dropped it with his mention of an offset. I was like, oh, come on. That's how they're doing this.
They doubled down on that. They do baking together. I'm sorry. I'm not going to mess with a baking bond. If that was they got their point across. This guy is in an apron somewhere with his girl baking banoffee pies and whatever else. And good for him. Go ahead. Do what you got to do, William.
I mean, I don't even mind that Cara and William are not going to have, I never was that invested in it. It didn't really matter to me, but I just, it's hard for me as a viewer to kind of figure out what are they doing? What is the hope? I have a feeling that, because I was for certain that they were going to ride it out with William until the end. I was like, they attached I don't want to say they attached themselves to this horse because I'm not going there. But I thought that they were just gonna, keep it with William and just go to the end. So I guess something changed. I mean, I didn't think they really did a good job with it anyway. So I'm not broken up about it. I'm not broke. Yeah.
I think that to take away from the baking thing, I think what they did, I think it was a good, hey girl, I got my baking girlfriend over here, but we can totally still do coffee. And I thought they ended it on a really nice note there. All right, fine. We're coworkers. We don't have to do, I think that was a nice way to have it out for them to not have to write in that awkward workplace tension anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the last season. I want to see Kara shine. I want to see them kicking butt. I want to see them I don't want the office place. Go do your water cooler stuff somewhere else.
Yeah, I thought it was for as sloppy as an off-screen girlfriend is, I guess they made it work for what they were trying to accomplish.
Which makes me think it was more than a week or whatever it was. Like,
yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go with 6 weeks, that makes sense to me. That he would be like, well, Kara has ditched me. I guess I'll explore other options.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's the way they wanted to go about it. But what I was pleased with the William character, because I personally I liked William. This is not a beef against Stas or the character of William, but at some point, if he wasn't going to be a love interest with Kara, I was having trouble understanding what his purpose was on the show. So I'm at least glad that even if they shrugged him off the canvas to be a love interest, they've still given him a reason to exist within the canvas of the story by having Andrea stick him on the Super Friends story. So he at least has something to do. So I guess if they're going to have William stick around, I'm glad that they're, providing him with a story.
Yeah. I mean, I think that happens, and viewers of other, even whatever other shows, when they become very ensemble, when I think about an ensemble cast, I think about Friends. That was a core set of characters that nope, they're there. They're not going anywhere. Other people come and go. We have that with the Super Friends, but there's always been either they're a series regular for a season or two, and they really try to just wedge them in there and give them a lot of material. Sometimes successfully. I loved Rain. I loved Sam. I wish she stayed around for a long time. But I agree with you. I had trouble buying in. I can buy in with most things. I'm pretty darn gullible. I mean, we're sitting here talking about superhero shows. We have some buy-in ability here.
Sure, yeah.
But no, I agree with you. What? I hope that they give him a proper send-off in that way. I'm having a toddler appearance. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I can, if you need me to, I can take you out for a second if you need to.
Yes, I'm going to step off camera.
Okay. Okay. All right. Hang on. I'm going to remove you from the stream. All right. So we'll wait until Quinn is ready to come back. Let's see. I'm trying to go through the chat. Y'all are really chatting it up for this live stream. So I'm trying to see if I can keep up with the chat. It's moving real fast. I might have to put y'all on the slow chat so I can keep up with everybody. Let's see. Ermgard says they dropped it because Stas was getting hate online every time William showed up on screen. That may be part of it. I would personally think that that's kind of unfortunate because obviously Stas is the actor and the human being doesn't deserve that kind of hate. So even if you don't like the couple, there should never be a reason to send online hate like that to somebody, because it's just a character in a story in a TV show. It's not that big of a deal. So I think that would be really unfortunate if that was the reason that they did it. But I personally think if I was going to imagine the reason why they took William off the canvas in terms of the love interest is I'm at this point where I think it's going to be Kara and Mon-El at the end. Again, I don't care about the ships. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to get into it. But I think that's maybe where it's heading. So if you do that, you would have to remove William from the equation. But that's kind of where I think it's going to go. But we'll see what happens. I guess anything is up in the air at this point. Things are twisting and turning with season 6 in ways I didn't expect. So we'll see what happens. So Quinn, are you back with us?
Yes, I may have a +1, but we're just going to go with it.
Well, he
said Supergirl, so I'm happy. Supergirl.
Yeah. We did have a question from the chat. Paula wants to know, did you discuss the presence of balloons in the decor of the welcome party for Brainy? So Brainy did have in his fear vision, he had to deal with balloons. So good for him. That he overcame some of his own personal trauma.
I mean, 12th level intellect. I mean, maybe that means those tiny boxes are unpacked and he's like, I'm good with balloons now. We're good.
Yeah, he's really been letting his emotions hang out, even if it led to some comfort food and binge eating, I guess.
I love that he mentioned his little boxes, though, when he said hi, hello to Kara and all that.
Yeah.
When they reunited. Oh.
That was a good touch. Yeah. I guess good for Brainy. Everyone is dealing with their trauma in their own way. So I'm glad to see that. Let's see. I wanted to get here. Let's see. I think I don't know how would you pronounce that. Ale. I don't know if I said that right. Excuse me if I didn't. Says I love that Supergirl Radio is a fandom drama zone, drama-free zone. But the Lena Kara slip made me laugh so much. I honestly, I've been going like a mile a minute. I had a lot to do today. I actually rushed home to do this live stream, so like my brain is frazzled a little bit. So
you're doing beautifully.
I'm gonna blame my slip up on just my brain being a little chaotic. I don't think it's a Freudian slip, but I just say Kara and Lena a lot because we talk about their dynamic a lot on Supergirl Radio. So it just kind of came out. But yeah, it is kind of funny because I don't care. Like I said, I don't care.
Yeah. And I share this opinion too. Like I started listening to you guys after season 2, and I literally was sitting there like it ended, and I looked at my wife who does not care about this at all. She will tolerate it. She loves me. I rub her feet. It's all good.
Sure.
But I'm like, I like really want to talk to people about this. She's like, So she's like, there's got to be a podcast. So it's all her fault that I'm here.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's nice to have that step away because I do enjoy the ships and all that. I enjoy Kara and Lena together. I think they're beautiful. I'm a queer woman myself. I mentioned my wife. And I was really, I loved Alex's coming out story. That was another big reason that I ended up so deep into the show in the beginning. But Twitter is an awful place sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, all right, I have way too many things going on in my life. I see that this is making you all spiral here. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to listen to my weekly Supergirl Radio thing and actually try to put together whatever the heck the writers are trying to put together for a plot. I like just being able to talk plot and for whatever that is, I love the purpose and the void that you guys fill because there are plenty of other areas that I can explore, like fan art and different things like that I love about the different little corners of this wonderful Supergirl fandom that's there. So.
Yeah, I don't discourage people from shipping things. I just personally have not had good times with that in other fandoms. So I just try to, stay with
the club.
Yeah, so I know Morgan feels the same way. Is that we're just here to talk about the show. We're just going to talk about it. So hopefully we do provide a positive place to do that. So. We'll definitely talk about the relationships on the show, but we try to keep it drama free and a little fun, a little goofy here.
Oh, gosh, yes.
So that's where we kind of come from. We just want to have fun with the show. So I think it's a good way to go about it. So hopefully everybody else gets that out of it, that we provide a place to just enjoy the plot. And I think it is something that needs to be talked about, the plot sometimes.
Where did this end? Okay, that's a lost plot point. All right, put that over there. Yeah. Oh my God.
So we do have to really dig into that to really figure out what's going on in this show. So the William thing, not crazy about how they're doing a lot of things off screen in season 6, which is very frustrating for me personally. But I guess they're having to work around some things.
They always try to take on so much every season, and God bless them. But it'll be interesting to see how they tie all of this up.
Yes. We'll see how. I mean, we're getting. I guess we're middle of the road, almost to the mid season, I guess. So we're getting there. So we'll have to enjoy every episode as it comes and really relish in it as we have them. So anything else before we wrap up our final thoughts?
I made my own Google Doc. Let's see.
I guess we didn't talk much about Andrea. The thing that I wanted to mention was that she was so concerned about Catco's, drop in the rankings. They're number 8, and she's not happy about that. She wants to be number 1, and she was blaming it on other things. And I wanted, if I was asking, like, if I was in the room with her, I'd be like, Andrea, do you think this has anything to do with Catco's tie to Obsidian North that created a mind control device that almost killed everyone in virtual reality? Do you think that maybe that has something to do?
But was Obsidian mentioned at all in this episode?
Not at all. So I personally, like, if I was a real if I was a person existing in the Supergirl universe, I might stay away from Catco because of the mess with the virtual reality. So I just assumed that most of National City is like, oh, let's not use their services.
I mean, it sounded like Kelly had a different job. So there was like something I can infer off of, a little nugget there. But no, I was sitting there going, okay, 1, you totally goofed this up with your launch there. And Leviathan, that word wasn't dropped once this episode either.
Who remembers Leviathan? Not a big deal.
And then that hard pivot, like, oh, no more clickbait. We are hard-hitting. We are hard-hitting journalists again, ladies and gentlemen. Or I'm going to replace my whole staff. After she made a whole stink about, y'all are on a big old contract. You're not going anywhere.
Don't take this out on your employees, Andrea. This is all on you and the VR technology. Don't blame this on them. It does. I am glad that Kelly has a different job. She doesn't have to. I don't know what she's doing. She could do anything, Kelly.
Social work, I think, is what the chat's reminding
Oh, okay.
us.
So Paula says social worker Kelly. Nicole Rodriguez says Kelly is a social worker now. I think that's fitting. That plays to her strengths and what she's trained in versus VR technology, which seemed to be something that was outside of her background. So I'm glad that she's getting that opportunity.
I mean, I also wouldn't want to be getting therapy from an IT person. No offense to any of my IT peers out there.
Maybe those IT people are very wise and have a lot of life experience.
You have your skills over here, and we have our skills over here.
Yeah,
all there is to it.
So I guess that's what I wanted to say about Andrea, that I was, I think she hasn't explored all of the reasons why. Maybe she needs to do like a customer survey about why people are not really buying into Catco and what they're doing. Cause I think she would find that very, very eye-opening if she explored all of that. So that's my feelings on Andrea at this point. I guess we could mention also that she was a Crota for a little bit in this episode. She used the medallion to break into the Luthor mansion to find Lex's files just laying on.
And isn't there that weird, all right, I'm going to remember a plot point from last season or earlier this season, that there is consequence for wearing the medallion. Like you lose something when you gain something, right?
I think that was part of it, yes. That seems familiar.
So I guess she's going to make her own little shadow monster somewhere using the medallion for personal gains there.
I mean, do you think that they would ever turn Andrea evil? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with her either. She's lovely. I haven't seen anything negative about the actress. I know you said she was on Dallas at some point there.
She was definitely on Dallas, part of that Dallas bingo.
But it'll be interesting. I don't think it was interesting. They tried to make her a little bit Cat Grant-ish in that, trying to command that boardroom. And I'm like, girl, no, that's not your game. But she also doesn't have enough of she's just an annoyance to Kara. Like, at least she had a mutual, mentor-mentee with Kat that like, oh, crap, my secret identity. Like, there was a duality to that secret going on. And this is more of just like, oh, crap, I got to lie to my boss again. Like,
yeah.
I'm not even driven by that as a plot point for Andrea. So I'll be interested to see what they try to do there.
Yeah, I don't know. The shadowness of a Crota makes me, it's sort of shadowy and sort of evil. So
shady.
They could play that if they wanted to. I guess I would have a problem with it after the season 5 finale when, Lena stops her from doing anything to Supergirl.
Yes.
It kind of redeemed her a little bit. So I don't know if they can, justify turning her evil.
Are they ever going to revisit that though? Because it's not like she wasn't Andrea. She's gonna be like, girl, Lena, why were you so protective of Supergirl? Like, don't y'all like have beef here? Also, who are the Super Friends? Any ideas? What do you think?
Yeah, that is going to be quite the storyline to see how the Super Friends deal with Andrea coming after them. So I guess in that way, she's at least an antagonist, I guess.
There we go.
Even if she's not evil. All right. Well, I guess final thoughts, Quinn. Did you like this episode or did you not like this episode?
I for the most part, I have been starved all summer. I've been looking forward to this. I'm so happy to see all of my favorite super guys and gals on screen. I enjoyed it, though. There are certain episodes that leave me like, oh, crap. Like, come on. I wish you did more for me. But it had some humor. It had the heart. It had the reunion really was just so lovely. And I can't wait to see I can't wait to see how Lena and Kara kind of come back together and reconcile. Just the guilt on her face when she hugged Lena or hugged Kara, and the fact that was the only time that Kara really spoke in that whole little exchange of hugs and stuff. Like, I'm interested to see the next time that they're together, how that plays out, because Lena's like, you see how torn up she is. Like, she blamed herself for sending her there, or Lex sending her there. So after all that darn nasty Luthering together season, like, I'm really looking forward to see how they tie up this back half with them all working side by side. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think the Lena Kara stuff is actually been pretty well developed, especially after season 5. They took them to a really hard place there in the 100th episode with Lena becoming a Metallo. So I think they've done a good job of stretching that out, making it believable that they would have this horrible fallout and all of the stuff that comes with that, and the guilt that comes with the Phantom Zone and all of that. So I like the way that they've played that to where it seems like they're sort of on the mend now, and they're kind of getting back to being friends. So I think they've done a good job with that. I was very pleased with this episode. For the most part, it made sense. Which is always a good place to start with Supergirl.
Low bar. Good.
I go
cohesiveness. You passed your paper assignment here. Good job, guys.
Low expectations always. But the story I thought made sense. The character arcs, for the most part, I think made sense. But I was just, as a Kara fan, because I love Melissa Benoist's Kara, and she was so good in this episode, and they actually made the effort to give Kara some really good meaty material that Melissa could dig into. And I was over the moon about the Kara stuff in this episode. So I think for that alone, that made this episode one that I'll rewatch. Some of these episodes this season, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go back and watch that, but I would rewatch this episode because I thought it was pretty strong. So I will say that I enjoyed this one, and I would be happy to give it another viewing. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for what we think and what we had to say. But Quinn, if you will serve as a co-host for me, and do Morgan's job of reading the tweets, if you don't mind, getting in there and reading the tweets. So what did our listeners have to say about this episode?
All right. First tweet up is from @Kenny Crawley. That was Crawley with a K. I thought it was good, but not great. The last 20 minutes were really good, especially the Danvers sisters couch scene. Kara's going through a lot. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
That's fair.
Next one is @KCLYLE1. Great to see the show back. Some high points and definitely some low points. I'm glad Zor-El is not staying around. Although already enough powered folks on Supergirl. Good to see there are lasting effects of Kara's time in the Phantom Zone. She's super, but still very human. I did like that. Lots of setup for the remaining episodes. I thought the trash monster looked halfway decent.
It did actually look pretty good.
We have dealt with some CGI here at Supergirl, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not sure why it would growl like that. Thankfully, Nia was there with her ill-defined powers to help defend against it.
She comes in handy.
There are so many fair points in that tweet. I do want to take a hot second. The human thing. Yeah. When Daddy Zor-El and Kara Zor-El were out on the balcony having that lovely moment before they were going to depart. I thought it was very, very touching, their interaction there. And then Lena walks up. She's like, time to go. And they had their moment there. But I was sitting there and I'm like, that should have been John. That really should have been John. But I'm like, oh my God, that's Space Dad. And this was her actual dad. So it was a nice, like it had the same flavor to it. But Zor-El dropping human truth bombs after only maybe a day on Earth. All right. You go for it, science dude. All right. At K Ray, Raee, I was so worried the whole season was going to be about climate change. But luckily it seems that's not the case. The Danvers sisters ending made me cry as usual. Very true. Kara and company dealing with trauma, 3 question marks. This is new and exciting. That took a weird turn. My favorite thing is Katie just giving up on the American accent altogether. I mean, I don't know about you all, but Katie has an audiobook out there, and her voice is lovely. So whatever she wants to do, that's fine with me.
Lean into it. I'm fine with it.
Lean in. Got it. There we go. At __ weird girl, an episode focused on Kara working at Catco. Well, I haven't seen this in a while, and I liked it. I love that the story was about Kara, and I love the Danvers sisters moment. Lots of points for Danvers sisters here. I just hope the storyline with the Phantom Zone doesn't just end with, and Kara forgot about the Phantom Zone at the end.
Yeah, that could happen.
Very valid. Oh, goodness. At String DTD, I'm going to be honest. This episode broke me in a way I can't express. I'm just speechless about the climate change direction they've taken and the ever-changing status of Catco as a magazine news organization.
Well, we still don't know what it is exactly.
Multimedia thing that's only $750 million. That was a low. I mean, Cat just sold that real low there. Anyway, glad to see Kara's being given space to breathe. That is true. I mean, I'm glad that the Super Friends didn't smother her. The climate change stuff, didn't love it, didn't hate it. Still terrified that the fact that there are giant plastic trash islands in our oceans, that's not great.
Yeah,
but I only learned about that. I only learned about that recently, honestly. So, if anything, more people are going to be like, is this real or did they make that up? Oh, no, that's real. So
there really are garbage islands.
Yeah. Anyway. So next one is at BC Beatty, Beatty. Throughout the episode, I was thinking that Kara's father was somehow going to turn him into a bad guy. That's what you said. His arrogance was his downfall, just like his brother. Oh, yeah. I mean, these brilliant Kryptonian men take a hot minute there.
Jor-El sort of got a mention in this episode, which was nice. That mention of Kara's uncle.
Ah, yes. It'll be interesting. I'm not watching any of the Superman and Lois. Are you?
Yes, I have watched all of the epizodes. Yes,
nice. I'm saving it. So now that it's all wrapped, I'll watch it.
It turned out pretty well. I have some beefs with it, but other than that, it's pretty good. I'd
for another day there.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
All right, at Miss MRJB260191. All right. The outcome of the rest of the season is either going to be the writers giving into Twitter pressure for Supercore, or being accused of queerbaiting just because people imagine more that there's actually between Kara and Lena. They're just best friends. Well,
so, Quinn, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm not touching that, but
I will touch that all day.
But if you want to,
yeah. Sorry, everyone. All right, so Supercorp. I love them. I love them no matter how they end up, because I have made so many friends who have also loved them. I have met so many beautiful creators, writers, artists. There's fundraisers that are Supercorp themed that make lots of money for charity. Like,
that's
it
great.
Is a thing that is bigger than the show itself, and I love it. Queerbaiting is a real thing, and it's ugly. And if you are not part of the queer community, it's really hard to really express what it feels like. There's so much out there that are male and female pairings, and it's just so easy for that to happen. And for a good long time there, when I was coming of age, for example, I'm in my early 30s for reference, there was the media that was out there, like me in the closet looking on the interwebs and Spine and stuff. It was things like Boys Don't Cry, or all of these other things where either there were tragic gay stories that were like Oscar nominated because they're awful, like Brokeback Mountain. Like,
oh yeah.
So the fact that I can't wait for there to be a day when my son and his peers have so much representation out there that, and less stigma around any labels of what, who and what you love and how you express yourself and identify. Like, I really hope that there's a day that this isn't an issue, but it's a very complicated issue that I could probably, I'm probably not the expert in, but I have feelings about it and would talk about it for a long time. But I'll be interested to see. I just want to see them in a good place. I want to see both of them happy. I want to see them hopefully continue to be in each other's lives, however that is. But they've really dug into developing their relationship as two women, and even being a woman and having friends, whether you're straight or queer, anything as an adult is hard. There's lots of trust. You come with a lot of baggage in your life. Like it's the fact that they haven't screwed up the storyline more makes me so happy in the lowest far kind of ways. But I love these characters, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I love them, and they certainly love each other, whether that's something that will be realized romantically in this series or whether it'll be left open-ended. I don't know if anyone here has watched Legend of Korra. There's a nice way that they end the series. It's a Nickelodeon show. There's a nice way that they end the series that's like, all right, they're going off together. And then the writers and whoever come in later and say, nope, they're together. That's just what Nickelodeon would let us do, kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. So I'll get off my soapbox and let's
Thank you for sharing your perspective. I personally would love it. I mean, this is just me. Like, I like the idea of showcasing a female friendship, just because for me, I find that to be pretty rare on television. The only, and I think I've talked about it another time on the podcast, but I love the show Playing House. And the center of the show is a female friendship that's really strong. And it was so refreshing for me to watch that, because it was like, wow, this is really actually doing a good job, because the two main actors were actually writers on the show, and they're like best friends in real life. And so to have that, shown as like a really important thing, and that seeing it, how it was reflected in the show, is something that I've experienced. And so sometimes I think even that is not represented well on television.
Yeah.
So I think either way you go, it's something that, would need to be, shown.
Yeah. But regardless, Rebecca, like, we need more women in entertainment.
Sure.
Period.
Yeah.
We need a healthy representation where women are supporting each other.
Agreed.
I think that Supergirl came into our collective, oh my gosh, zeitgeist at a good time, where we are, I don't know where I pulled that word from. I'm very proud of myself.
That's a great word.
But like, I referenced Grey's Anatomy. I'll go back to it. My wife and I have been rewatching it from the beginning. We're on season 15. We started a couple months ago.
That's so many seasons.
I was in high school when we started watching this. It was 2004. But Shonda Land always does a good job of making these complex characters. Like, they're not perfect, but they are themselves. They're not catty. They're not necessarily always fighting for each other. Like, not fighting for the screen. They deserve to share the stage. Anytime a woman in the world moves up, we all move up, right? We need to be celebrating each other and supporting each other in that way. So I think that I was so mad they had them so angry and bitter at each other, Kara and Lena. I'm just so happy to see them in a place where they can work together and move forward. Like,
I think they're in a good spot at this point, which is kind of nice. Even though I always kind of secretly wanted Lena to go evil, but I got that in the 100th episode.
But I could watch that Metallo Lena for like hours and hours. She was beautiful, gorgeous, fierce, evil as anything.
So I guess I got what I wanted, and that's all I need. So I'll be satisfied with that.
Very good. Okay. Sorry, lost my spot. Let's go. So at Lido Large, It was surprisingly good. I love that this is a theme. Was a little scared for a second. The CG monster was trash. Get it? All jokes aside, it was nice to see Kara again. Still feels like too many side characters and inevitability. Kara will be sideline, but overall not bad. I will give bonus points for the Take the Grass making a cameo. And both Iris and Cal got a shout out, though it was super awkward after seeing the Superman and Lois version of the Sorceress of Solitude and now this one. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. Why are you giving that guy the budget and we didn't get it? We've been here so long. Come on.
I think the Supergirl Fortress is actually better.
Good. I mean, that's the right answer, but
I mean, there are some aspects of the Superman and Lois Fortress that I like, but the Superman and Lois Fortress has the big, Jor-El, Lara statues and all this. I think it's more comic booky a little bit, but that's just my personal opinion.
I mean, this is why we have the multiverse, everyone. We can have all the stories we like. Isn't that what flippin' DC did all last summer? Everything is canon. Go find your series and your storyline and enjoy. But I could be over here enjoying mine. So
yes.
Let's see.
Like what you like.
At Women IMRL. Literally fell asleep in the middle of the episode. It went from superhero show to anti-pollution infomercial soap opera. All right, fair. But you've been watching the show before now. Like, this is nothing new.
It is a fair critique, but I hope that this user finished the episode because it ended well. I think it had a good ending.
I agree that they had to have the Monster of the Week. Like, it was definitely the last storyline of the show. It was all about Kara coming back and being with her people.
Yeah.
All right. At Josu A. Rios, 1994. Good episode. Glad the Earth trash problem was solved by throwing a ton of trash into the sun. Yeah, I didn't like that either. Everyone had something to do, and Kara getting lots of screen time. Every episode should be like that. Hopefully the panic attacks continue for believability. I mean, I don't wish more panic attacks on Kara. I hope she has a healthy processing of this and that we get to see it exemplified because people deal with trauma. I think this is a great opportunity. And I know that she and her husband in real life are advocates for mental health awareness, and David Harewood as well with his, I think he has a new book coming out, I saw. But I think that it has a great opportunity. Now, I'm not in the psychotherapy realm of things, but I'm a participant in that sphere. So I hope they do a good job. Is that all I say every week? Yes. All right. At Fractalin. I can't. I'm sorry.
I think we normally say it at Fractal Inverter. I think that's how we say it. Yeah.
Thank you. Fractal. That's a nerdy thing. All right. Parts were good. I like that they tried to get some kind of connection between Kara and her father before he left. But when they put Kara on the ground for the umpteenth time, as soon as there's a battle, I just want to run over and hit showrunners with a foam bat. I mean, at least they said a foam bat, not a real bat.
Yeah, I would not advise any, physical violence, but I understand the frustration.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was realistic. Not only was it probably the stunt double in the Power Ranger suit, but she got sucked out of the Phantom Zone. The girl was tired. She needed her super suit to protect her.
That's right.
SL Fricky, Andrea is upset the magazine isn't known for hard-hitting journalism. Well, whose fault is that? Who bought the magazine and then decided it should go in a more ad-friendly direction? Who, I ask. Don't you love that? That's like when your bosses change their whole mission statement halfway through. Anyway. At iJules18, Kara's is definitely missed. Probably the only season 6 episode I've enjoyed other than the Midvale episodes. Glad they ended Kara and William. Curious to know more where Lena is going. Ireland. That's my theory. She's going to find her mama. She's going to do all the Irish things. I'm going for it. They sent her a green screen. All right. Andrea is trying to unravel the Super Friends, and Kara's talking about her PTSD. Also, Brainy is Brainy. He's fun. I do love Brainy.
He is fun.
Oh, I hope we get more Jesse as Brainy or something like that to enjoy in the future. Maybe he'll do a little YouTube series. Who knows? Jesse, if you're listening, I would watch that.
I mean, I think we'd all be into that.
At Derp Swan. Interesting. All right. I was so happy to see Kara and Alex both finally get to acknowledge some of their trauma. Oh, no, you moved me. Where'd it go?
Oh, did I move it? I'm sorry.
You moved me. It's okay.
I am so sorry. Okay.
Some of their trauma and PTSD. However, that continues. The reunion scene was so moving, especially between Kara and Lena. Yes, I agree. I also really enjoyed Lena being part of the Super Friends and her friendship with Mia. I also love that Lena was like casually in that, just like, nope, she's at the fortress. NBD, I'm here all the time. I know everything that's going on. I mean, girl masters anything she gets into. So
yeah, the fortress is not a big thing anymore.
All right, we have 2 more tweets here. Finally, a nice, this is at Patty Mello. I know this one. All right. Finally, a nice episode of Supergirl this season. It's great to have Kara back. She made me feel all the feelings. I wanted to hug her too. Didn't Lex take all of Lena's money? So how exactly is she going to travel? I'm glad William has a girlfriend. We have been blessed. Yes. I think Lena probably doesn't have any more incoming money, but girl is set. Like, let's be real.
She might have a trust fund or something in there that she can tap into. That's a good point. That's a good question, though.
Or maybe Sentinel's little hand thing can turn into an ATM and girl's set. You know.
Oh, there you go. See, you can get around it.
Problem solved. Plot hole. Okay. At Danvers' couch. Love the Danvers sisters couch scene. Melissa and Kyler can always make my cushions cry when they have their heart-to-hearts. Loved Alex being the boss she is meant to be. Yes. And I think Lena will learn magic when she is away, seeing as the amulet is magic. Yes, yes, yes. I love this.
Oh, Lena doing some magic. That's interesting. I guess that would tie into the Nixley stuff. Maybe she's half imp.
Maybe Katie went home and put on her Morgana outfit and was like, guys, I have an idea. Let's go. Let's do this. And writers are like, great, let's go.
I'm into it. Well, we also have some emails. The first one is from Anna, who asks, quote, is it normal to bring parents, significant others, and random relatives to work with you as an adult, unquote? How would you answer that, Quinn? What do you say to that?
Well, I'm a physical therapist, so when my dad comes to visit from out of town, he walks right in, sits down, and I throw some heat on his neck. So, I mean, that's my life. What about you?
I might bring people just to like see my office and, you know, kind of see where I work, but I probably wouldn't have them hanging around like Uncle Archie did. So I guess it does depend.
Had to have been irked by that. Had to have.
I guess that depends on your career path and what you do in your workplace. So that's a good question, Anna. Thank you for asking it. Gina also sent in an email to say, quote, first off, congrats to Morgan and Mike getting hitched. Based on the pictures I saw on social media, it looked to be a beautiful and fun wedding. It was. Gina also goes on to say the mid-season premiere felt like forever, and yet it felt like it came suddenly. I guess that's the way time has felt for me this last year and a half. Did I love this episode? I felt it was the best episode this season so far, maybe second best to the first prom episode. There were a lot of traces of what I loved about the show that were sprinkled throughout the episode. I still can't believe they made a good episode where the villain of the week was garbage. It's a great point, Gina. Gina also says, quote, I felt like it had been a long time since we saw Melissa as Kara Danvers. It was nice to see her behind those glasses again. Nice to see her at her job, even though she still managed to leave in the middle of the day. That's true. Just nice to see Kat go again, really. But this episode was infinitely better than so many episodes recently, only because Melissa Benoist got screen time. And not only that, we got to see Kara's mental struggles of being in the Phantom Zone. I'll take watching these characters talk and act through their feelings over watching them fight a big garbage monster any day. Thankfully, the garbage monster wasn't on screen as long as I feared it would be. And Gina goes on to say, I love Jason Behr as much as the next late 90s WB teen drama fan, but I am not a fan of both Kara's parents being alive. It takes away from part of what makes Supergirl so super. Yes, I do want Kara to have a happy ending, but part of that happy ending for me is seeing her struggle through the loss each day and still finding that hope. That's where the inspiration lies, in my opinion. So it was good that Zor-El had his moment, but then went to join Allura on Argo City via Jean's spaceship car, ? I guess that's how they did that. Gina also says it's been great to watch Lena and Nia interact this season, and they truly had nice moments in the episode. The parallels of their issues with their mothers is an interesting take to bring those two characters together, and I look forward to seeing where it takes the two of them, especially since Lena is going back home to Ireland, ? Unquote. So yeah, Gina, I think we're hoping for Ireland. We'll see what plays out. Daryl also wrote in to say, quote, I don't understand their concern that Brainy would eat Kara's cake. He hasn't exhibited any behavior or eating habits that would make that a real concern, unquote. I'll stop here. I think they were throwing back to all the times, especially during the flashback, sort of flashback time travel episodes where he was just eating all the time. He was eating his feelings, stress eating. So he was eating a lot. So I guess that's what they were playing on. Daryl also says, quote, I think Alex's explanation about Kelly's absence will factor into her story next week, since apparently Kelly has a new job. One where we don't have to wonder what she does like we did with her job at Obsidian. And Daryl also says, doesn't anyone else think Clark might want to have met his uncle? These shows are supposed to be on the same Earth post-crisis, but they can't be bothered with the most basic continuity. I don't understand the Uncle Archie cover because it's not like Kara's going around telling people her parents died. She can just lie like she does about everything else. Why is Kara specifying it's her Uncle Archie, calling him that when no one is around her desk? Kara brings her father to work to show him her life there, but she doesn't do that at all. And it's Nia who he actually connects with there at Catco, unquote. So Daryl, I think those are all really good points. I think it would have made more sense for Uncle Archie to connect with Kara on the balcony instead of Nia. But I guess they had to have Kara in there with Andrea. And I think Clark probably would want to meet his uncle.
How did they play it off on Superman and Lois as far as what Earth it is? Like, do they reference Crisis at all?
It's confusing because there's no mention of Kara whatsoever. They don't mention any of the other Justice League. They don't mention anything that would tie into any show. So it's hard to really understand what is happening there.
I mean, that checks out. That tracks.
So they're just Superman and Lois is off doing its own thing on its own little world, I guess, in their own minds. So if you want some, although they don't mention Supergirl, but there are a lot of Supergirl references, like Kryptonite and Stanhope, and there was something.
We know your feels, yes.
So there's a lot, and Leslie Lar is on there, but they're not going to mention Supergirl. What's that about? So I do have my little bits of beef there about Supergirl, but Superman and Lois, it's doing its thing.
One day when you reboot it, I know you'll get it right. I know you will.
I'm gonna try for it. Okay, well, Quinn, we are at the point where I think we need to make some snaps. So we've got some snap judgments sent in to us by some listeners. So let's get into making some snaps. In the game of snap judgments, each person is presented with 2 options, but must only choose one. First instincts are recommended and explanations are unnecessary. Okay, our first one is from @SLFricky, who asks, more pointless romance buildup, Kara and James or Kara and William? This is going to be a tough one, Quid. So what would you pick?
Oh, no. I recently rewatched season 1. I liked James so much more in season 1, so I'll pick James.
So we're going pointless buildup. I think Kara and James was trying to get somewhere, but it got changed at the last minute. So I'm going to say Kara and William because it didn't seem that at least Kara and James had a purpose, like it was trying to do something. So Kara and William, I think, is what I'm going to pick there for most pointless buildup. So we've got a couple of snaps from Gina who asks, who do you prefer, Kellex or Oscar?
I got to go Oscar. He had the Wonder Woman 1984 shoulder pads rocking.
And he turned into a garbage monster, which is a big plus in his
Yeah, when you come out of the suspended belief that this is a comic book show, wow, they made the villain actual garbage. This is great.
Actual garbage. I think I always preferred Kellex, so I think I'm going to go Kellex. Even when he turned into when they turned him into Oscar, I still wanted to call him Kellex because I love Kellex so much. So I'm going to go Kellex on that one. All right. So which was your favorite interaction, Lena and Brainy or Lena and Nia in this episode?
I really love Lena and Brainy. It's just they're so nerdy in the best way, and they call each other on their crap. It's so great.
I also like Lena and Brainy, but I guess for this episode, I'm liking what they're doing with Lena and Nia and how they're tying their stories with their mothers together. So I guess I'm going to say Lena and Nia on this one. All right. So last one from Gina. This is a complicated one for me to imagine. So the first option is a cake made of donuts or a cake made with donuts on them. So if you can wrap your brain around the
I mean, so much fried dough, so much icing. I'm gonna go with the cake made of donuts. Have you ever seen those like pull away cupcake cakes? Those are so cool. That's what
no.
There's a whole thing on it. Pull away cupcake cakes, and they ice the whole thing. Anyway, yeah, first one. That's my answer.
I think a cake made of donuts, because in my imagination, I'm sort of picturing like donut holes, but like smushed together. So I think I would be into that more than just having like a regular cake with a donut on top. That seems like too much.
Plural donuts on top. You sure? Maybe they're mini donuts on top.
Oh, maybe it's like a cake with like donut holes on top somehow, like in a decorative stance.
I am hungry now.
Now I want cake. So I'm going to go a cake made of donuts on that one. All right. So we're going to end our snap judgments like we usually try to do from Anna. So Anna is back with some snap judgments for us. Okay. So the first one is, what seems more likely? Kara and Lena ending up together at the end, or Kara ending up with William after he marries his girlfriend, Mary? What would you say, Quinn?
Why are we perseverating the cheating storyline, Anna? I mean, you just lobbed this one up there because it's always Kara and Lena for me. I'm just going to say it. Kara and Lena. Thank you very much.
That's fair. I guess I'm going to have to say Kara and Lena on this one just because what seems more likely. I don't think that Kara is going to end up with William after he marries his girlfriend, Mary. So that doesn't seem likely to me. So I guess I'm going to have to pick Kara and Lena ending up together at the end on that one. Okay, so last snap judgment from everyone. So this is from Anna, and she's going to bring it home. Okay, so this is the snap. What is most likely to happen to Lena when she goes home? Will she find magic and become a witch with her with powers, or will she go into the water to feel connected to her mother and almost drown herself in an accident? So this is a very Anna-like snap judgment. So Anna's really digging into the tragedy of this. So what do you think is most likely to happen to Lena?
I just want to make sure, Anna, are you okay? I want to know. Are you good?
We always have to check on Anna and make sure she's okay.
Yes, Andy. Damn, this is dark. I agree. I think that I'm going to go in with the fairy tales and the lore that she's going to go find some wonderful connection with her mother magically. I really, that face frame on that darn water monster, that is Nixley. I'm going with it. I mean, that's another Grey's Anatomy reference, going in the water and just being like, oh, this is great. Nope, this is terrible. Got it. Nope, I'm going with magic. Bring on the witch.
What's most likely to happen? I don't know that I see Lena going into the water to feel connected with her mother. The Kelpie thing, I think, if I was Lena, that would kind of freak me out from wanting to get into the water. So I don't know that I see Lena doing that. So I'm going to go, she's going to find magic and become a witch with powers. I hope that happens. So I think that's going to be the most likely scenario. We'll see if this involves Nixley or not. But either way, let's hope we get some, Morgana 2.0 here with Lena and Katie here for the rest of the season. All right, so that's going to wrap up our snap judgments. So we'll play a little outro and we'll come back and wrap up the live stream. No judgments on your snap judgments. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio with the season 6 episode titled Welcome Back, Kara. And thank you so much, Quinn, for spending some time with me. I know I kept you a little longer than I told you I was going to.
It's all good. Everyone's asleep.
But I really appreciate you coming on here and being willing to talk to me about this episode. And filling in as a great co-host of Supergirl Radio when Morgan is out. So where can listeners and viewers keep up with you and keep up in touch with you if they would like to?
Yes, and I encourage you all to. My handle is at Quinn Schuyler. Schuyler spelled like the Schuyler sisters of Hamilton fame. And I'm on Instagram at SuperQuinn19. I have a little yellow icon, a little Bitmoji thing. I love chatting. Hit me up. If I can do a little shout out, I live at the Delaware Beaches. If you're ever in Bethany Beach, my local comic shop is Comics and Gaming. They're right on the main drag in Bethany Beach. And there's another wonderful podcast that I love called Bitches on Comics. If you're looking for another way to expand your palette with female empowerment and queer empowerment, comic loving. So thank you so much for having me. And thank you to any and all of my friends who tuned in to cheer me on today. I really appreciate you all.
Well, thank you for being with us and for supporting your local comic book shop. That's always a very important thing. So if you can, definitely support your local comic book shop and what they're doing because they're keeping things going with comic books, and I really thank them for that. All right, so I guess we need to get into some plugs at this point. So we're going to tell you all about DCTV Podcasts and Supergirl Radio and how you can keep in touch with us. If you would like to contact Supergirl Radio, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 678-718-7252. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Podchaser, and Spotify, where we also have a Spotify playlist that includes music featured on and inspired by the CW's Supergirl TV series. We are listed on DC's fan page, which you can find at dccomics.com/DC-fans. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy our Supergirl Radio live streams, make sure to subscribe to the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live and wired. DCTV Podcast also has a TeePublic store, so if you're in need of new DCTV related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, onesies, mugs, notebooks, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast Network, so if you also like The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, Titans, Doom Patrol, Batwoman, Stargirl, Superman and Lois, and the upcoming Green Lantern, Justice League Dark, and Strange Adventure shows, and DCTV After Dark, you can subscribe to the DCTV Podcast Mega Feed on Apple Podcasts. Follow at DCTV Podcasts on Twitter, and like DCTV Podcasts on Facebook, or else. This has been a message from Hope, inhabiting the Flash vessel, also known as New Rachel.
Don't make Hope mad. She said or else. So we're not gonna cross her path. But speaking of DCTV Podcasts and the TeePublic store, we do have, since this episode of Supergirl, Welcome Back, Kara, had a lot of Kryptonians. We have some Kryptonian designs in the DCTV Podcast TeePublic store. There's one that I think is supposed to be Kellex. I'm assuming it's Kellex. It's not identified as such in the store, but I think it is. So we're going to go with that. So if you want to get some new merch for showing off your nerdy love of Supergirl, the DCTV Podcast TeePublic store is a good way to do that. I've bought many a thing from the TeePublic store myself, so I encourage it. Also, we need to thank our legion of super sponsors. That would be Michael, Sam, Anne Marie, Grout, Yvonne, Quinn, Jessica, Nicola, Leslie, Susan, Abby, Irmgard, Miriam, Sheree, Donna, Nicole, Lizeth, Deb, and oh gosh, I've got to get back into the doc for my pronunciation. I think it's Ziwihong Xiao. So let me know if I'm mispronouncing that and I will correct it. But that's my best effort as of now. So if you would like to support Supergirl Radio and the Patreon, that we have. You can go to patreon.com/supergirlradio. We have a couple of different monthly levels. And with the Patreon, you'll get some exclusive behind the scenes stuff that Morgan and I usually put out there. So you get a little extra Supergirl Radio in addition to the free episode that you'll get every week. So thank you to everybody who does support the Patreon. We really appreciate it. We also have a Flat Supergirl photography contest that we are still doing until the show, whenever the show ends. So to do that, to participate, go to supergirlradio.com. And you can download and print the Flat Supergirl image that is there. Basically, just download it, print it out, cut out Flat Supergirl, a sticker on a popsicle stick or a pen or a pencil. Any way to get her to be on there. And then take a creative picture of Supergirl. Take her to whatever event you're going to take it. Do things around the house if you want to. Some mundane chores. Have Flat Supergirl do your chores with you. Whatever it is, please post that image to social media and tag us at Supergirl Radio and use the hashtag Supergirl Adventures. That's how we can locate it and find it later when we want to gather all the pictures together. And we're going to be doing this until the Supergirl series finale. So you've got some time to plan out your photo shoot with Flat Supergirl if you want to take her out and snap some pictures. So that's been a lot of fun. People have been having a good time with Flat Supergirl. So thank you all for participating. And you've still got some time if you would like to do that. If you want to keep up with me, you can find me on Instagram at the Derby Kid. I post the occasional picture. I actually got to post a couple of pictures from Morgan's wedding that I took. I got a little bit of Amy from Legends of Tomorrow posed a little bit, and I tried to take her picture. So there were a couple of good shots that I came away with from Morgan's wedding. So you can go check those out if you would like to do that. If you want to follow me and keep up with me on YouTube, I do have a personal YouTube channel at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. On Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm going through Rotten Tomatoes top critics reviews of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. I'll be doing that for a long time. So if you would like to read those reviews with me, I'm doing 38 of those. So come and hang out. We'll talk about Batman v Superman if you are into that. I'm also going to be next week going to Dragon Con. So that's why we're not going to have a Supergirl Radio on Thursday. We're going to be having a live stream on Wednesday instead because I'll be going to Atlanta on Thursday. And I'm going to be doing two panels. The first one is going to be Superman Battle Royale of Media Superman. I'm actually doing this with our good friend Michael Bailey. He's a friend of the podcast. And so this should be a lot of fun. I've been told they're going to have categories that we are going to have to make picks on, like best hair and best suit. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure there'll be lots of hot takes. It might get spicy at that panel, but it should be a lot of fun and getting to do that with Michael. I'm very excited. I'm also going to be on a panel about Supergirl, about the CW Supergirl called Supergirl Final Flight. This has been changed to Monday, September 6th at 10 a.m. And I didn't mention, if you're going to Dragon Con, you can go to the Superman one Saturday, September 4th at 8:30 p.m. The Supergirl one is on Monday at September 6th at 10 a.m. So if you want to find me at Dragon Con, I'm going to be doing those panels, and I'll probably record them as well and put them in the Supergirl Radio feed. If you can't come to Dragon Con, I'll still make it available to you so you can hear all the hot takes, all the crazy shenanigans that will go on with that. All right. Well, Wynn, I think we need to Quinn.
Wynn's pretty cool too.
I said Wynn like the Supergirl character because I say Wynn a lot. Quinn, I think we need to wrap up this live stream and get out of here. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson. And I guess we could just say, welcome back, Kara. It's been nice to see you. So we're glad that Kara is back with us. So thanks for hanging out with us on this episode of Supergirl Radio. I think the CW are just trying to win the time slot war with Supergirl Radio.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.